speaking of Donald Trump, he delivered a speech in Nevada, a little event that he held, and it was wild as ever. I don't really want to go through all the different subjects that he talked about, as we sometimes will do, because the normal, deranged, detached from reality things, but instead focusing on the fact that he seems to be getting increasingly confused about a lot of things, and I find that funny. So let me give you a few examples of that, and within this conversation, you'll see some of what he was talking about. But y'all know what he talks about, all of these speeches. It's kind of the repeating of the same things every time. So with that being said, here's this. He's on the subject of Hillary and how he calls Biden crooked now and something like that.
Hillary. You know, we call her Beautiful Hillary now, right? We changed her name because she's a beautiful woman. We call her Beautiful Hillary. You know why? Because I'm using the word crooked. I don't like doing the same word for two people. We're using the word crooked for Joe Biden because Joe Biden is the most crooked president in the history of our country by a factor of hundreds. He's a crook.
No evidence at this point in time that's correct.
We're going to end all of the things you see and
We're going to end all the things you see.
ban critical race theory and transgender ideology from our schools, from our university. We're banning it. We're banning it, what they do.
It's interesting. CRT is not taught in the levels of schooling they say that it is. Okay. It's a higher level course you would take, or thing you would study. But separate from that, just pretend that CRT was being taught, or gender ideology, whatever they think that means, is being taught in elementary school. Let's just pretend that everything they allege is being taught is, okay? It still violates their own principles of small government to say the president of the United States is going to get involved in individual curricula in individual school districts and decide what is and isn't being taught. That's not small government. They used to say, leave it up to the states, and even better, let localities figure things out. And here, he's saying, no, I will decide as president of the United States what the Austin, Texas specific school district within Austin, Texas's schools at this level, at this grade can be learning. That's pretty wacky and not small government. And also, it just so happens the things they say are being taught are not. So wrong, and a little bit more of wrong. Next clip.
We have a corrupt, incompetent leader in Biden. Everyone knows he's, and I wouldn't have said this 3 weeks ago. I wouldn't have said it. I was actually very kind to him. I was very kind to him, but now we can't be kind anymore because the gloves are off. The jar has been opened. He's taken millions of dollars from other countries like China. He's totally compromised. He's taken millions and millions of dollars from other countries. And in history, there's never been a scandal like this, but the fake news doesn't want to report it. There's never been.
So he's referring to the accusations from House Republicans against Joe Biden of him being bribed, and time again we say, okay, if you believe that and if you're alleging it, can we see the evidence? And then they go, we lost it, or the person who had it disappeared, or okay, maybe we don't necessarily have evidence of a crime, but here's some stuff that we can talk about. If you think that Biden was bribed, you would have to have evidence to prove that, and that's what we're still waiting on, as has been the case with the previous 10 accusations against Biden from Republicans. Then he calls Ron DeSantis a son of a you-know-what.
Let's give it a shot. We did, I think, 2 or 3 rallies. I think 3 big rallies, thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And they came out. I said, you know, you're going to win. And he ended up winning. And then about 3 years later, they said to him, will you run against the president? And he said, I have no comment on that. I said, he has no comment. That means he's running. I said, that son of a bitch is running. I got him elected. So I'm not a big fan of his, and he's highly overrated. He's highly overrated. Remember, he's the one that wanted to cut Social Security. He's the one that wanted to raise the...
And then into that, and I've said it before, I love that the attack line from Trump on DeSantis will often center around DeSantis not being supportive enough of Medicare and Social Security, because that makes it a conversation within the GOP primary. and maybe more Republican candidates will be scared away from their honest view most of the time, which is, oh, if we could, I would love to go after Medicare and Social Security. That's been their record time and time again in so many different situations. But because of how politically damaging that can be, often they avoid it, which is what we want. And if Trump keeps attacking someone on this, maybe the broader Republican field of candidates or even just Republican leaders in Washington will be more afraid of following in line with some of the views that DeSantis has been in favor of, and many Republicans have been in favor of. And then last clip we'll look at from this Nevada speech.
He said, if you endorse me in the state of Florida, which we love, we all love Florida. And remember, Florida is easier than other places. You have the ocean and you have the sun. There's something about that works. But you have the sun too, but you don't have the ocean, I can tell you. You definitely don't have the ocean. Maybe someday you'll have the ocean. You never know. Someday. Hopefully it's a long time away, right? Hopefully. But he said, if you endorse me, I win. I say, look, you know what?
Isn't that funny? Do you get the joke? A guy standing on stage, running to be the nominee within a party that is going to be the reason at least the United States doesn't do what it should to avoid a future where the ocean is all the way up to Nevada. And what he's talking about is sea levels rising. And he is a part of the party that is allowing for a disastrous climate change related situation being the reality for the world. And because of the power, influence, and magnitude of the United States as a country, we should lead on the front of making sure that we address the issue of climate change. And Biden has taken huge steps forward on that front. And Trump is running to be the nominee in a party, and he himself stands for the very ideology that is attempting to do the opposite. And giggle, 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 maybe that'll cause mass devastation. But let's move on. Really, really wild. Last thing, he did an interview while he was in Nevada after or before this speech, and he got asked the question, you lost Nevada twice, how do you win Nevada? And Trump said, I think I won the last time. I think I won both times by a lot. This is a state that is disgraceful. And by the way, this is the Nevada Globe that is doing this interview. You know, we sued on the basis of they robbed the vote at a level, and he goes on to say all the things we've heard him say in the past. And that is so potentially damaging for the GOP as these election cycles continue, because if you can't even realize when you lost, separate from the threat to democracy, separate from the anti-democratic nature of not accepting free and fair elections, just for the Republican Party as an entity, having candidates that don't accept when they lost is terrible for strategy, because then you can't even map out how you would change the reality on that front. If you're saying, no, I won every single state, every single election, then how do you know where you need to invest more resources? How do you know how you should change your campaign message or change your policy positions? You don't. And that's what we're seeing from MAGA. Carrie Lake lost, but she said that she didn't. So if she runs a senatorial race, she'll do the same thing. She'll run the same type of campaign, and Trump as well. And that, separate from all of the damage that could do to the country at large, could also bring down the GOP with it. And hopefully, for how damaging it is for everyone else, it at least does that to the Republican Party. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are able to be uploaded to the YouTube channel, plus get the bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That is lukebeasleyshow.com/membership, and there's a link in the description.